Now let's put all this together and add news feeds to the sample app. Before I do that, I want to remind you what you've seen as we walked through this example of the default values for the templates. I have tokens that I define for the templates, and when I've done the one-line story, the short story, optional, and the action link, I can put it all together and I register it and I get a template bundle ID, which I will need to use in my code. So the first step in building a template is to open some word processing document. I'm using BBEdit, which is what I standardly use for writing code, because you're going to have to keep track of the bundle ID and the things that you have done to create tokens. So you're going to need to write that down so that you have it when you start to write your code. Let's go back to the feed template console, and I'm coming down here to the app that I'm working on. That's the first step. Select your app, and now I'll do the one-line story template. Now, instead of saying that actor likes one-line templates, in our app we're talking about adding pics, and so the logical thing to do is to say so-and-so added a pic on Plattsburgh Pics. That's a summary of what happened. It's quite active, no question about it. And let's just try it out and update the preview. And there it is. That's what's going to be generated. Now, the more specific you can get, the better your news item is. You could put in a token that gives you the information about what that pic was. One of the things you have to think about with the newsfeed is that Facebook can aggregate items, and it aggregates items that match. So if I added a pic on Plattsburgh Pics and someone else adds a pic on Plattsburgh Pics, Facebook can come along and aggregate them so that it will create a newsfeed item that says Jesse and someone else added pics on Plattsburgh Pics. Now, you want them to match so that they can be aggregated. Things that are aggregated wind up in the news feed more often than not. So if you want to put specific data like what the name of the pic was, where it is, it's better to put it in the short story, which doesn't get aggregated. So here we are. This is what I want for my one-line story template. Fine. Let me go on to the next one. And let me see, what are we going to do here? Well, we are not discussing short story templates. One thing that we could say is the new pic is, I'll create my own token called pic name closing asterisk closing pointed bracket period. I'll come down here to the sample template data, get rid of that, and I will put in opening pointed bracket. Now we're using quotes down here. This is for the data that we're going to be passing in. Pic name, close quote, colon. Call that text pic, close quote, close pointed bracket. And let's update the preview. The new pic is test pic. So it's picked it up, the token is working. You always have to test it, because if there's a typo between here and the data, it won't work. Just make sure it's there. Do we also want a title for this? If we want the title up here, it has to start with the Facebook actor token. I'm going to take that out. I don't want that. So now let me come here to this one, and what we're going to do is look at, do we want something, an action link here? And in this case, I don't need an action link, so I'm going to take that out. And I'll come back here. I'm looking at this and I think I can do a little better here. Let me come here. This one has to be actor. So-and-so likes using Plattsburgh picks. Let's update the preview. And here it says likes using Plattsburgh picks. The new pick is pick name. And here I'll change that to his. And what I'm doing now is something that you will do as you experiment with the feed console. Play around with it. See not just what you want to generate, but what looks most interesting in the console. And now what I'm going to do is in the one-line story template, it just has actor was interested in this. Now in this one, I've created a new token. Pick name. And I'm going to have to fill that code in when I write my code. Let me go on to the next one. I'm just going through here and looking for any tokens that I have created. That's all I've done. I go on to the next one. Review the changes. Do I want to make any changes here? No. I now want to register. And here's this. I come up here, copy it. Paste it, and what I always do when I'm copying and pasting, particularly long numbers, here's a trick from years of testing and debugging code. Look at the first and the last character and make sure that you haven't accidentally dropped them off. Now I've created the bundle and I'm ready to move on to write the code.